Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a vintage set. We are always going in complete order, so the set we're checking out today is Black and White Plasma Blast. And then if you guys are a Mew fan, you are in luck because we are going to be checking out the best Mew cards ever created. And before we get started, we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch-Out Gaming. Punch-Out Gaming is my local game store that I go to, and it's the #1 game store in all of Minnesota. I've actually been to them all. Nobody can beat the variety. So I'll have all the links in the description, and they're only located 30 minutes north of the Twin Cities, so definitely check them out. All right, let's get into it. We are checking out Plasma Blast. This set came out August 14th, 2013. 101 cards plus 5 secret rares. Plasma Blast is the English equivalent of Japan's Megalocanon set. They have these stamped plasma cards again, which are pretty cool. Now, let's get to the full arts. We have the Verizon, just regular full art, but beautiful. Now we have the blue plasma full arts. You guys know I love these cards. We got the Genesect. Then we have a regular Jirachi, one of the best full art Jirachis we've ever gotten. Now we got the blue plasma full art Dialga and the Palkia. And then we do have an Iris trainer card. And then these are our secret rares. We got the gold shiny Execute, gold shiny Verizon, and the gold shiny Dusknoir. And then we do have a rare candy, which is a super cool trainer card. All right, let's check out some prices on eBay. So we got a PSA 5 Palkia blue full art for $225. That card is getting very expensive. Iris is $82. Jirachi full art $115. We got a PSA 9 Palkia for $800. And then the Genesect just raw $230. Palkia EX, just a basic EX for $15. We got a PSA 8 Dialga for $449. Best offer accepted. Here we got the secret rare Dusknoir for $55. Near mint. Some of those are still very affordable. Next, we got the Iris for $65. Next, another Iris for $67. Dusknoir for $70. Best offer accepted. Got the full art blue Dialga for $147. We got a Beckett 8.5 Dusknoir for $100. Best offer accepted. Verizon full art for $45. Iris PSA 8 for $159. Jirachi for $71. Rare Candy $110. Best offer accepted. Blue Genesect full art for $250. Best offer accepted. Here we got the Dialga on auction for $280 and the Palkia for $242. What else do we got? Verizon PSA 9 for $200. That's very affordable for how hard that card is to pull. All right, let's get into it. Let's check out some PSA 10 sales. We got the Iris here. Last sold $3,500, which is what I could find, and that was a few months ago. Now I had trouble finding PSA 10s for a ton of these. These all have really low pops. Next, we have the Verizon full art. Last sold is $1,200. That was a few months ago. Next, we have the blue plasma Genesect. Last sold $2,500. Also a couple months ago. Next, we got the shiny Execute. This was in July. Last sold $1,500 and $2,000 before that. Next, we got the Verizon. This was also in July, only $850, which seems crazy that this is cheaper than the Execute. Next, we have the Dusknoir. The sale was also in July, $1,305 and $1,175 before that. All right, next, we got the big boys. The blue full art Dialga just sold on eBay, PSA 10 from Z&G for $11,100. And we got the Palkia sold for $7,300, also from Z&G. So those are some monster sales. Next, we are checking out some booster packs. Still pretty affordable. We got a PSA 10 Plasma Blast pack, Porygon Z for $250. Just a loose pack, $105, $83, $95, $100, $99, $90, $88, $62, $62, $80. Got a sleeve booster for $318. I mean, even like, Palkia on the pack art, $95. We got one here, $140. Best offer accepted. Next, Plasma Blast does have an ETB. So this is the second ETB in Pokemon history. Super, super cool. It sells for around $3,500 in pretty clean condition. I'd love to have one of these one day. And for the booster box, I could not find any recent sales, but there is one on eBay for $11,000 if anybody was interested. Next, we are checking out the Mew cards. Since the Bubble Mew is going absolutely crazy, I figured it'd be a good time to look at some of the older Mew cards and see which ones actually compare. So we got all of our modern Mews here from Scarlet and Violet era and Sword and Shield. So the Bubble Mew is the most expensive. Now market price $556, followed by the Mew VMAX from Fusion Strike. And the Mewtwo V-Star is not Mew, but whenever you type in Mew, Mewtwo always pops up. Then it goes to the Mew V alternate art from Fusion Strike at $68. Then the Mew promo, which market price is now $57. Got the Rainbow Mew VMAX, got the Gold Mew from Celebrations, the Mew from Crown Zenith. So we got some very nice Mew cards. But in my opinion, some of these vintage Mew cards that we're about to check out can actually keep up with them or even be a little bit better. So we're going to start with the Sun and Moon era. Now, a lot of people would agree that some of these Sun and Moon Mew cards and stuff are better than what we've gotten so far, but that one's pretty close. But we got the Mewtwo and Mew GX Rainbow. Last sold in a PSA 10, 676, 660, 735, and a PSA 9 at 279. This has a pop of about 1100 in a 10 and 900 in a 9. Next, we got the Full Art Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team with a pop of only 552 in a 10, 589 in a 9. Last sold in a 10 is 433. Next, we got the Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team. And what's super cool about this card is it actually goes with the Mewtwo card. You can see the same screen and everything. Mew is here to break Mewtwo out. So it makes this card even more special. Last sold in a PSA 10, 580. Before that, 441. This card has a higher pop, 1600 in a 10 and 1200 in a 9. A little easier to pull. Next, we got the Mewtwo and Mew promo. Another awesome card. A lot of people would say this is the best Mew card, plus there's Mewtwo in it also. This has a pop of 6500 in a 10, 3400 in a 9, and last sold in a 10, 975, 1100, 1020. Next, we have the Shining Mew from Shining Legends. This card looks pretty nice in person. There's a little bit of texture on Mew, and then it does have a pop of only 3000 in a 10 and 4900 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 615, 620. This card was dirt cheap not too long ago, $200 something. Next, we're going to be checking out one of the lowest pop cards today. This is the Full Art Mew EX from Legendary Treasures Radiant Collection. It says it only has a pop of 155 in a 10, 1064 in a 9, 1500 in an 8, 927 in a 7, 510 in a 6, 216 in a 5. So there's more 5s than 10s, which is just crazy. And last sold was, not too long ago, a few days ago, $7,400 for that Mew. Next, we have another one of my all-time favorite Mew cards. This is the Black Star promo, XY110. Another low pop card, 156 in a 10, 857 in a 9, 684 in a 8, 247 in a 7, and 124 in a 6. And last sold in a PSA 10 is $2,399. Now, these cards are very expensive in PSA 10s, but raw, they're very affordable. I mean, last sold raw, 63, 85, 29, 42, 78, 75, 118, depending on condition. And same with the last Mew. This card is still somewhat affordable raw, $100, 95, 180, 86, 95, 65. And then the PSA 10 sale for the XY promo was not too long ago, last month, $2,399. We did have one sale at $3,683. Next, we have the Mew Prime card. Another low pop card, 148 in a 10, 632 in a 9, 452 in an 8, and 192 in a 7. Now, last sold in a PSA 10 for this card is $2,225. And that was in June. And this card raw, 122, 78, 199, 144, 87. Getting kind of expensive now. Next, we have the Mew EX Full Art. I love the background on this Full Art. This is from Dragon's Exalted. Last sold raw, 250, 120, 280, 87, 300. We got a PSA 9 at 911. And last sold, it says August 18th, is just a PSA 9. I cannot find a new PSA 10 sale. It was $1,500. Next, we have the Mew EX Full Art. This is an XY promo, number 126. Now, this has a pop of 75 in a 10, 324 in a 9, 312 in a 8, 168 in a 7, and 63 in a 6. Last sold raw, 66, 154, 86, 99. And PSA 10 sale was a few months ago, $2,700. Next, we have the Mew EX from Holland Phantoms. I love this Mew. Love the tail on it and everything. This has another low pop, 58 in a 10, 269 in a 9, 319 in an 8, 237 in a 7, 150 in a 6, 93 in a 5, so there's more 5s than 10s. Last sold raw, 65, 58, 85, 280, 135, 102. Again, it's really going to depend on the condition. We got a PSA 9 at 1100 And we do have a PSA 10 sale, $7,000. This was August 15th. Next, we have the Mew Delta Species Pop Series 5 card. Definitely check this card out if you guys are just listening. It is super nice. Looks crazy in person too. Last sold raw 255, 120, 168, 167, 152, 254. And then could not find a PSA 10 sale for this card also, but we got a PSA 9 at $2,100. That was July 6th. Next, we have the Mew Gold Star. This is the king of Mew cards. Last sold in a PSA 9, 6,000. Raw 1,600, 2,200, 524, 1,550. We got a PSA 9 at 7,200. PSA 1 at 1,225. So yeah, this is a very expensive card. This is a pop of 72 and a 10, 472 and a 9, 418 and an 8, 335 and a 7, 281 and a 6, 227 and a 5, 173 and a 4, 153 and a 3, 112 and a 2, 232 and a 1. So this card does not sell very often in a PSA 10. We did have one a few months ago at $15,000. And then we had a CGC Basic Gem Mint 10 at $8,000 and then a PSA 9 at $7,600. Next, we have the Mew Holo from Expedition. This is one of my favorite ones also. Super low pop, only 26 and a 10, and then 236 and a 9. Pretty much, yeah, higher pop than all of them. There's only 24 ones and 24 twos. Raw, 280, 47, heavy played, 145, 96. We got a PSA 9 at 430, 300, 500. And we did have a CGC Basic Gem Mint 10 sale at $2,150. We got the Japanese version in a PSA 10 that sold for $2,100, and then the English version in a PSA 9 sold for $2,000. All right, next we have the Mew Wizards of the Coast Black Star promo number 9. There is a number 8, which is non-holo, but this is my favorite English Mew card of all time. This card takes the number 1 spot for me. It's just so clean, beautiful colors, really nice swirls on it. It says a pop of 282 and a 10, 3,000 and a 9, 3,300 and an 8, 1,300 and a 7, 600 and a 6. Last sold raw 50, 55, 66. PSA 9 at 165, 125, 155. So honestly, for how old the card is and how beautiful it is, it's still very, very affordable. And then we got a PSA 10 sale at $2,288 and then $2,100 before that. Next, we have the Mew Pokemon Rumble card. This has a pop of only 29 and a 10, 132 and a 9, 145 and an 8. So very tough to find clean. Then we got a PSA 10 sale at $3,000, which was July 26th. And then we got a PSA 9 for $600 and a PSA 8 for $300 and a PSA 7 for $235, PSA 1 for $200. That's just so funny. Next, we have the Mew Southern Islands card. Love this one too. Last sold raw 100, 320, 299, 210, 175. Has a pop of only 20 and a 10, 458 and a 9, 1100 and an 8. And then we did have a Beckett 9.5 recent sale at $4,000. Then a CGC Basic Gem Mint 10 at $1,700. Another one at $1,590. And then we got a PSA 9 at $1,450. That's all I could find. Next, we have the Ancient Mew. Another really cool, unique Mew card. Last sold raw 78, 85, 57, 55, 100, 80. Really depends on the condition. We do have a sale at $1,175 and a 10. And one thing about this card, there's a few different versions. Like there's an error version that has like Nintendo spelled wrong at the bottom. So definitely look up your versions. There's quite a few different ones. And we got some awesome sales. We got a black label that sold for $4,050. Look at this super cool error card right here. Like it's not even fully printed on the card. This was a CGC 8.5. This sold for $3,360. Another Beckett black label for $3,261. PSA 10 for $2,320. Another Beckett, but this is a gold 10 that sold for $1,726. And then another PSA 10 super old label. Wow. This sold for $1,530. And then you can always just check the label. Like this is the actual Nintendo error here where it's missing an N. It's spelled Nintedo. This one says Ancient Mew 2. So, this one says Ancient Mew 1. So there's different versions. So definitely check out your card. Do your research. Next, we have the Shining Mew Korokoro. This is the best Mew Japanese card we've ever gotten. This was 665 raw, 560 raw, 1550 and a 9, 1534 and a 9. And we do have a PSA 10 sale at $9,328, $6K before that, and then $5,900, $5,500. But yeah, such a nice card. Next, we have the McDonald's Mew Japanese card. Look at this face. You have to admit, that is just super adorable. Last sold raw, 67, 75, 73. It says there's a PSA 10 at 734, 799. And then we do have a sale at 850 was the most recent. Then we're going to check out a couple Chinese cards. We got the Pikachu 5th Anniversary 2024, which does have a super cool Mew up in the corner. Just thought I'd add that in case people are looking for different Mew cards to collect. Last sold in a PSA 10, 1500. We got one at raw at 757. The card used to be very cheap. Next, we have the 151 Chinese Pikachu card. This one has Mew in the background. Another very, very nice card. Last sold raw 605. PSA 10 at $1,275. And then for the big boy, we got the Chinese exclusive Mew. There's only 1,510 of these in the world. We just had a CGC Pristine 10 sell for $20K. Best offer accepted. Not sure what it actually ended at. And then we just got raw here at 82, 85, PSA 9 at 88. What else we got? Another raw 66, PSA 9 at 89, then a PSA 10 at 1,800, best offer accepted. Ooh, we even had a Beckett 9.5 at $11,200. That is such an expensive Mew card. Then a PSA 10, $15,355 with 26 bids. And last on the list, in my opinion, this is the best Mew box we've ever gotten. This is the Mythical Premium Collection with Generations packs in there with the super nice XY promo that we looked at earlier. Now, if you want this box clean, it's probably going to be around $400 or $500 nowadays. It was really cheap for the longest time. But yeah, such a cool box. And then not to mention, it's also an anniversary box, which is one of the reasons why it's going so crazy right now. But if you are a Mew fan, I think this is the best one to have for display-wise anyways. But all right, that was today's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. If you guys do like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. If you guys want to support more, you can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, or my YouTube membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which was a super good one, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.